Hello everyone, today we will talk about coordination, the nervous system, 2.47. Firstly, the objectives for this lesson are firstly, to understand that different cells and tissues must work in a coordinated way. What do you mean by this? We will see firstly what are the cells that we are talking about them. Secondly, we will take some examples about how different cells works together in a coordinated way. Number two, to know that there are two systems, focus on the word two systems of coordination in mammals. We will take a human as an example of mammals. We will see what are the two systems of coordination in our body. Number three, to understand that the structure of a neuron is highly adapted to its function. We will talk about neuron. We will give a definition for neuron. We will see what do you mean by neuron, and we will see how the structure of it is adapted for its function. What's the function? Also, we will talk about it. Now, firstly, take a look on this human body. As you can see, here it's showing one of the body systems. As you can see here, we have the brain, spinal cord, and the nerves. Now, our topic today is about nervous system. If you will focus on this drawing, you will see here this drawing, it contains the main parts of nervous system. These main parts are brain, spinal cord, and nerve. 1, 2, 3. Brain, spinal cord, and nerves. These are the three main parts of nervous system. Then, in the objectives, they say to know that there are two systems of coordination in mammals. What's that mean? It means this nervous system, it consists of two parts. We will see what are these parts. Now, working together. Again, there are millions of cells and scores of different tissues and organs in the body of an animal, such as a mammal. Now, if we will take an example of our body, of course, we know that our body, it consists of millions of cells, millions of different types of cells, organs, tissues in our body. All of these cells and organs, they are working together. They are working together in a coordinated way, okay? The cells and organs do not all work independently. They don't work by themselves, okay? How they do? Their activities are coordinated. It means there is something that it's controlling the function of these cells. There is something it's guiding these cells. It's controlling how these cells to work, which means that they work together, carrying out their various functions at certain time. Okay. Now, coordination in mammals is achieved through two systems. What are these two systems? Each with its own particular rule. Firstly, the nervous system, this system, all of it, okay, deals with rapid but short-lasting response. Now, if you will have a function or if you have a question that it says what's the function of nervous system, the answer will be it deals with the rapid but short-lasting responses. Okay. Then another system, the endocrine system, brings about slower, longer lasting responses. Now, what are the two systems that are coordinated in mammals? These are the two systems, the nervous system and endocrine system. Nervous system and endocrine system, these two systems, they are working together, okay? They depend on each other. But if we will compare between these two systems, we will see how they differ from each other. In nervous system, we said it deals with rapid but short lasting response. Okay, so the response of nervous system, it's rapid, but for it lasts short time. In contrast, endocrine system, it's opposite. It's slower but longer lasting responses. Then the nervous system. The nervous system, it's one of the main systems in our body. The main function of it, it controls all the actions in our body. This nervous system, it consists of two parts. Okay, first it consists of some organs. Okay, and then these organs we can divide it into parts. Firstly, in mammals and other vertebrates, the nervous system is arranged as shown here, okay, as is shown in this diagram. Firstly, it consists, as we mentioned before, it consists of brain and spinal cord. Brain, spinal cord, together they form central nervous system. Okay, or a shortcut for it, they call it CNS. Again, the nervous system, it consists of brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord together, we call them central nervous system, or a CNS. Okay, then the second part of it, we call it peripheral nervous system. Okay, connected to various parts of the body by the peripheral nervous system. This is made up of nerves. So brain, spinal cord, together they form what? Central nervous system. Then the second part of nervous system, it's what? It's the nerves. These nerves, okay, we call them nerves carrying information to and from the CNS. We call it peripheral nervous system. Nerves, okay, as you can see here are the nerves, the green one. Okay, these nerves, okay, it's what? A collection of many long thin nerve cells called neurons. Now, how this process it happened, or how the nervous system works. Information flows along the nervous system as follows. Firstly, we have a receptor. Receptor detects a change in condition. A message is carried from the receptor to the CNS by a sensory neuron. After processing, a message is sent from CNS to an organ or effector that carries out response. A motor neuron carried this message. If you want to explain it in or with some easy, simple words, how it happened. Firstly, let's say you touched something, it's hot with your finger. Okay, so now your finger, it's what? It works like a receptor. In your skin, you have some nerves. These nerves, it detect, okay, something abnormal, it's happening. It gets a signal. Okay, so then a message will be carried from receptor to the CNS. So a message will be sent from your finger to your brain, or to your CNS exactly, by sensory neuron. Then after that, your brain will process this change, okay, and will take an action. After that, what will happen? You will pull your finger. This message, okay, it will be transferred from the brain, from the CNS to your organ, which is finger here, by what? By a motor neuron. Again, what do you have here? You have sensory neuron and motor neuron. The difference between them, it's what? Sensory neuron, it will send a message, it will carry a message to the CNS. Then another message from CNS to the organ, it will be carried by what? By motor neuron. And here as it's shown in this diagram, okay, sensory nerves carry information to the CNS, while motor nerves, okay, carry information from the CNS. Here, this table, it shows some differences between the nervous system and endocrine system, as we explained before. Speed of action, as we said, for nervous, it's fast, it's rapid. In endocrine, it's slow. Nature of message, what kind of message they use? For nervous system, they use electrical impulses, while in endocrine, it uses chemical messengers, okay, electrical impulses traveling along nerves, while in endocrine system, chemical messengers traveling in the bloodstream. Here, what do you mean by endocrine system? It's like the system that will release some hormones. These hormones it travel around the body through what? Through the bloodstream. Duration of response, usually completed within seconds, may take years before completed. Again, here is because we said it's rapid, so it happened within seconds. Here it takes many years. An example, for example, let's say growth hormone, okay, which it works for a couple of years. Then area of response, often confined to one area of the body. Here, usually notes in many organs, widespread. So in nervous system, it works only for specific part of the body, specific point of the body, but here no, it's widespread. Example of processes, reflexes such as blinking, movement of limbs, growth, development of reproductive system. Now, the nerve or neuron, the main function of it, we said it's to transfer the information, all the information carried by the nerve system traveling along specialized cell called neuron. Okay, but now let's take a look on its structure or how it's adapted to do this function. If you look at this drawing, it shows a neuron or a nerve cell. Nerve cell, it consists of many parts. Firstly, we will start with the first part. We call it cell body. Cell body, this part, we call it cell body. The function of it, it controls the metabolism of the nerve cell. Cell body, it controls the metabolism. What do you mean by metabolism here? All the chemical reactions that it happen inside the cell. The cell body, as you can see, if you look at these ends, okay, they look like a tree, okay, so we call them dendrites. It collects information from other cells. So here what we will have many cells. The function of these dendrites, it's what? It's to collect information from cells. Then it collects the information. Now formation goes to the cell body, and then what will happen? It will move by this direction, okay, direction of impulse. As you can see, direction of impulse, it starts from here, it goes down. So how it will be transferred or transported through what? Through axon. Axon, here, this like tube, okay, this it's the axon. Definition for axon, it's what? It's a long fiber which carries information away. Focus on the word away from the cell body, okay? Then, after that, if you as you can see, the axon or this tube, it's covered with these structures. These structures, what do we call them? It's fatty sheath made of myelin. This part we call it fatty sheath or sheath. Okay, the function of it, it's to what? Because we say the neurons, it works with electrical impulses. Okay, so it gives electrical insulation between neighboring cells and makes impulses travel faster. In our body, we have these nerves. Okay, all these nerves are these nerves, there will be another one next to it, and so on. So because it's electricity here, it's passing through it, how these nerves will not connect with the next one, it's by what? It's by this sheath. This sheath, it gives electrical insulation. Just imagine it's like a wire. Okay, a wire, the function in the function for wires, it's what? It's to carry the electricity. How we can insulate wires, or how we can keep wires from touching each other? By covering them with what? With plastic in wires. But here it's what? Instead of the plastic, here we have fatty sheath. The function of it is to insulate the electrical charge or electrical impulse between the neurons, the neighboring neurons. End plate, the last part of the neuron, which synapses with another nerve cell or a muscle or a gland. What's that mean? What do you mean by the word synapses here? It connect with the next one. In our body, for example, let's say finger, the distance from your finger to your brain, it's what? It's not only one nerve. No, it's what? It's many nerves connected to each other. For example, now here we have this, it's one cell. We will have another cell here. It's connected from this one till, for example, here, and you will have another cell, and so on. So here, if you will have a question that it says, in which part the two neuron cells connect with each other? Okay, or contact with each other, you will say here in the end plate, which synapses with another nerve cell. A nerve is made of many neurons. This motor neuron carried information from CNS to an effector. Nerve impulses. Now we will talk about the messages, how the messages are sent through nerves, or how it works, how it will pass through the nerve, and through what, and the mechanism, how it's the mechanism. Messages pass along neurons in the form of electrical impulses. We said our nervous system, the principle of it works. Well, the principle of it's what? It's electrical impulses, sending electrical impulses, called action potential. So if the definition for action potential, it's what? It's passing the impulses, passing the electrical impulses through the neuron. Now, one more thing. Here we said in this diagram, we said end plate, which synapses with another nerve cell. What's that mean? We said the end plate here, okay, it will synapse with another nerve cell. What do you mean by synapse with another cell? It means it will connect with another cell. But we said the end plate and next nerve cell, they are not touched each other. There is a gap between them. We will explain it here. Here, this gap, the gap that we just mentioned, we call it a synapse. Okay. the end of the neurons, focus on this, the end of the neurons is separated from the next cell by a tiny gap visible under microscope, and the impulses can only cross this gap in one direction. This gap is called synapse. So a definition for synapse, here it's the definition. The synapse, it's the junction between the end plate of one neuron and the dendrite of the next one. Now we will see the mechanism, how it's the mechanism of sending the mechanism of sending the electrical impulses and how it happened. This mechanism, it will be done in 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. These steps are what? Firstly, an impulse arrives at the synapse. Okay, the impulse, it's coming from here, from the axon to the end plate. Okay, it will reach the end plate. This is the step number 1. An impulse arrived at the synapse here. Okay, then in the end plate, at the end plate are tiny vessels containing chemicals. Okay, number 1, the impulse, it will reach here. This part, what do you mean by this part? It's the end plate. Okay, this end plate, it has this green one. The green one, we call them vessels. Okay, these vessels, or it's like a sac. It contains some chemicals, or they call them neurotransmitter. Then after that, what will happen? The chemical inside these vessels will be released in the gap. Okay, so as you can see here, these vessels, it contains the dark green dots. These dark green dots, it represent the chemicals. Then these chemicals will be released into the gap. The gap, or it's like the gap between the two cells. Okay, step number 3, the chemicals is released into the gap. Then after that, these chemicals will diffuse across the gap until it will reach the other cell. The chemicals diffuses across the gap and the impulse restarts on the other side. Okay, again, steps, the mechanism of synapse, how it works. We have 4 steps. Step number 1, the impulse will be sent through the axon, okay, until it will reach the end plate. Then in the end plate, there are some vessels. It contains chemicals. We call them neurotransmitter. Then this neurotransmitter will be diffused, will be diffused or will be released into the gap. Okay. Then after that, the chemicals will diffuse. The chemical diffuses across the gap, and the mechanism, it will restart again. That was everything about nervous system. Again, a quick review for it. Nervous system, we said, what do you mean by nervous system? Is the system that it controls all the actions in our body. The nervous system, it consists of organs. These organs are brain, number 1, spinal cord, number 2, and nerves, number 3. These 3 organs are divided into 2 parts. Brain plus spinal cord, they form the central nervous system. Nerves, they form the peripheral nervous system. These nerves, we have 2 types of them. The sensory nerves and motor nerves. The difference between them, it's what? The sensory, it sends. So when it sends, what will happen? It sends and it will carry information to the CNS. Then after that, a motor nerves, it carry information from the CNS. Then the two systems that work together, that coordinate with each other, they are the nervous system and endocrine system. Okay, this table, it shows some differences or comparison between the nervous system and endocrine system. Then the structure of nerves, okay, the nerve cell, we said it consists of this part, cell body. It controls the metabolism. Then the main parts of it, it's what? Dendrites. It collects information from cells. It will send it through axon. Then this axon, it's covered with sheath, fat sheath. It insulates it. Then the last part of it, which it's end plate, which synapses or which connect with the next cell. The nerve impulse, okay, how it happened, this mechanism. Firstly, we say the synapse, okay. Firstly, the impulse will be sent through end plate. Then in the end, at the end of end plate, we have vessels. This green one. These vessels, it contains chemicals. We call them neurotransmitter. Then step number 3, neurotransmitter. It will be sent or released into the gap between the two neurons. Okay. Then these chemicals will diffuse into the next neuron. And when it will diffuse, so the process, it will restart again. Questions. Suggest 2 similarities and 2 differences between the endocrine system and the nervous system. What is the importance of these differences? So, the answer for question number 1. The similarities. The similarities between endocrine system and nervous system. The similarities, number 1, both involved in coordination, both required for survival. How to explain this one? Both involved in the coordination. What's that mean? All the actions that it's happening in our body, okay, it's happening by the help or under the control of what? Under the control of nervous system and also under the control of endocrine system. For example, let's take an example of action in our body. Okay, movement, any kind of movement. This movement, it needs what? The difference is nervous system is much quicker. We said the main difference is what? Nervous system, it's fast, but it lasts for short time, while in endocrine system, it's opposite. It's slow, but its effect, it lasts for a long time. Question number 2, 3, and 4. These 3 questions, it will be your task for this lesson. I hope everything was clear. Stay safe and have a good day.